Welcome back. There's been a lot of commendation for President Muhammadu Buhari's performance in his first 100 days in office. Some analysts say Nigeria is in that position where the rest of the world has focused its attention on us. The president has been on a number of foreign trips where he's made policy statements some feel should have been made at home. He's also mentioned considering reducing the number of missions of Nigeria outside and a new focus for the country's foreign policy. Let's take it to Professor Bola Akinterinwa now, who explains what direction we should be headed.
I think our foreign policy, as at now, is aimed at securing international support for the struggle against religious extremism. And at the same time, it is aimed at targeting new support for the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Perhaps more fundamentally, attempt is also made to present Nigeria as a new Nigeria, where any honest, genuine business entrepreneurs, investors can count on. Those are the basic objectives as of today. In terms of method, I think President Buhari is trying to introduce what I have called Buhari diplomacy, in which case he wants to approach the conduct and management of foreign policy differently. First of all, we've had many foreign policy doctrines. We've been talking about foreign policy concentricism as defined by Professor Gambari. We've been talking about beneficial concentricism as similarly defined but differently by Ambassador Oluwadeneye. You know, we've also been talking about the possibility of Nigeria still becoming a relevant power, concert of million powers, according to Professor Bola Akinterinwa, in the strong belief that at the end of the day, without having all the resources that great powers do have before they are recognized as major powers, Akinterinwa had posited that, look, we can still make use of the resources, human resources, idea resources, and still shake the world. We've been talking about all this. From the perspective of President Buhari, he's not against all this, but he thinks that at the end of the day, it is how you present yourself to the world that will be perceived, and that will definitely make the international community to relate with you.
And he's right.
And he's quite right. So the issue is not that conventionally people say unless you make your house, put your house in order, we wouldn't be able to behave well internationally. Everybody has been saying this, but no one has come out to explain how to put the nation in order, the domestic in order, beyond saying strong economy, strong military. No, these are ambiguous terms. So the attitudinal disposition of President Buhari is a resultant from his experience as a former head of state with a military background. Now he's trying to adapt to presidential lifestyle based on universal suffrage.
It also seems to be like a shift away from, what we're used to with Nigeria's foreign policy, which is that Africa is the center of Nigeria's foreign policy. It seems more like, the president is bringing the attention back to Nigeria, and this time we're healing from inside out.
You are quite correct. If you look at it chronologically, historically, from 1960 to 1976, Africa was considered as the cornerstone of Nigeria's foreign policy. What does that mean? You can literally explain it to say the corner of a house, you keep it there. When you have time, you can refer to it. But then came Professor Adedeji, Professor Adebayo Adedeji in 1976. He came up with the argument that, look, we cannot say we are emphasizing Africa and be putting Africa in the corner. And he then said, look, Africa should be the centerpiece. And anything you put at the center, you can see, all right, what to put in the center from whatever angle. If you take a circle, the diameter stand on any point of the radius from one point to the other, you will be seeing it. So he came up with the concept of a centerpiece. After, we also witnessed concentricism by Ibrahim Gambari, our former foreign minister, which Ambassador Oluwadenigi redefined as beneficial, constructive beneficial concentricism. The difference between the two is simple. While Professor Gambari is saying that, look, there is the need to provide, to give emphasis on the immediate neighborhood, prioritize our operational areas of foreign policy. In other words, Professor Gambari argued, for instance, that the security of Nigeria, the national security of Nigeria, is necessarily intertwined with the security of the immediate neighborhoods. Therefore, when we are talking about the innermost circle, it is not just Nigeria. The innermost circle includes Nigeria and the immediate neighborhood.
You mentioned Burkina Faso. How should Nigeria approach that? Because I know that we're coming under ECOWAS. We're going with ECOWAS's position on this. But Nigeria as a country, how should we approach the Burkina Faso?
I think Nigeria should maintain her policy disposition on this, and it is very clear. The partisans of a Blaise Compaoré will not be allowed to contest, etc. Now, if you are supposed to be in charge of national elections, and you are ready by policy, say a certain group of people will not participate, then the military now say no, there shouldn't be any basis for that, and they now have to use force to change government. ECOWAS now in its own wisdom is saying, yes, the factor of non-inclusiveness will not allow them to say, look, we sanction you. So what they are now trying to do from various strategic calculations, the ECOWAS is now trying to say, well, we can give 2 or 3 months, all right, to enable you replan and do this. But we want civilian dispensation to be responsible, not that the military government that has just come in will be in charge. So they have been able to marry both positions without necessarily negating their position that, look, there will be no forceful change of government.
That's the program this week. Join us again next time. I am Amarachi Ubani. Have a great week.